Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. Today we've got another controller review video. We're going to be taking a look at the EasySMX X15. You might have seen my previous Gamesir controller reviews. There wasn't really any more Gamesir controllers I could review apart from their really cheap ones that I don't particularly want. So it was between EasySMX and Machinike, I think it's pronounced. I will pick up a Machinike controller at some point for review, but I thought we'd go for this. So as you can see, this is the X15. It is a wireless controller, obviously, as you can see. It does have Hall effect triggers, sticks, macro programming, so on and so forth. Then on the back, as you can see again, adjustable vibration, turbo function, triggers, paddles, RGB adjustment, blah 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 blah. So we'll get it out to have a quick look at, and then we'll go through some of the actual specs of the controller. The packaging is a bit cheaper. Yeah, a bit cheaper than the Gamesir controllers. Just like a clear plastic surround on it. It's stiff enough to stop the controller taking any damage or anything. I have used this controller obviously to make sure it works before I did the review, but it's basically brand new. I literally got it today. So anyway, just pop it out of this, put it to the side, and then in here you get your 2.4 gigahertz wireless dongle, which you literally just have to plug into your PC. Now there is a button on that dongle, so the first time you connect it, what you've got to do is press and hold the button on the dongle. Once you put it in, you'll see the blue light flash, and then you've got to press and hold the power button. Mine should just connect first time, but yeah, so that's now connected. The RGB is quite nice on it. It goes all the way around the sticks and the D-pad. It is programmable like the app says, and then you do have these two paddles on the back, obviously a toggle to switch it on and off because obviously it's wireless. Not sure what the button down there does, but I haven't read the instruction manual to be fair. As you can see, the sticks are they're like metal, like they've got like a metal shaft, and then they've got sort of like an O-ring around the outside, so they're really smooth in a circle. And it has a D-pad that's more like inlaid, a bit like the Xbox's Elite controller, which is quite nice. So the sticks aren't bad. The triggers, they're not too bad. But I do find these face buttons here to be a bit spongy if you compare it to that Gamesir controller beside it. These you can hear a proper click to them, whereas these they're more spongy. What I will say is, if you're comparing like this is the Cyclone 2 from Gamesir. Now this controller does feel more premium than this one, but this one is like £15 more than that one. So if you're after a controller in the 30 to 35 sort of price range, then this EasySMX isn't a terrible option. But in regards to like Hall effect controllers, it's not bad. You charge this one just by plugging, can't really see it in there, but there's a Type-C USB in there. You just plug the cable and you get a cable with it. You just charge the battery that way. The battery is lithium ion, as you probably would have guessed. It's a 1000 milliamp hour battery, so it's not too bad. They recommend on their website it's about 2 to 3 hours charging time for about 12 hours of usage, which isn't too bad. The controller is compatible with obviously Windows PC, the Switch, including the Switch OLED, and then Android and iOS sort of phones. It's a weird one. I'm not going to be showing the software that controls it on this because, one, I don't know where you get it because the software isn't called like EasySMX or something. It's called Keylinker, and I don't seem to be able to find anywhere you can get it. I've even looked on the Reddit pages talking about this controller and I just can't find a link to it. But I'm not really bothered, like the RGBs, it's whatever. But yeah, it's you'll be able to change in the software, I imagine, same as the Gamesir, your RGB, your dead zones on your triggers and your sticks. You probably swap around the face buttons, swap around the rear buttons. The only other thing I will say about this controller is the back, like the M2 and M3 buttons on the back, they're quite nicely placed so your fingers don't click them by accident. Whereas I found with the big ones here on the back of the Gamesir one, you can knock them by accident. Luckily, most Gamesir controllers have a lock, so they don't press anyway. But yeah, it's not a terrible controller. You can tell it's not for like Xbox or PlayStation because there's no 3.5mm jack in the end for a headset, which I find weird because there is. I mean, I don't actually know what they do, but I'm guessing they're volume buttons. That's obviously start and select button up there, but they're not labelled start and select, they're labelled plus and minus. Won't really focus on it, but it's not a terrible controller. It's lighter than the Gamesir, but not by a lot. The back of it is quite nice. It's like a textured plastic, so you don't lose grip on it. The analog sticks are quite nice. They're sort of knurled around the edges, so they're quite grippy. And I don't really find, even though this is smooth plastic here, I don't really find you lose grip on it. I think the sticks feel very similar to the Gamesir. I prefer the D-pad on the Gamesir because it's more clicky. But yeah, it depends what you're after and what price range you're shopping for. Like I said, the Gamesir to me feels more premium, and obviously that comes with a charging stand like that you just obviously sit that on. Whereas this obviously you have to connect just by a wire, but some people that doesn't really matter. So like I said, yeah, if you're looking for a controller in the 30 to 35 range, you can have a look at this EasySMX. They also have another variant called the X10, and there's an X20. But if you're looking for a bit sort of more premium, then I'd go for a Gamesir. Like I said, I will grab a Machinike at some point to compare all three of them because they're all sort of Chinese companies. But yeah, it's not a bad option if you, like I said, if you're looking around that 30-35 range, and you want something with Hall effect sticks and triggers, which obviously they can't suffer from stick drift Hall effects. You can get a couple of different designs of it. So you've got this one here, which is this one on their website. As you can see, 31 on their website. They do have that version, which is their Starfield version, and then they don't have it on their website, but you can get a Wukong version. I have seen them on Amazon, so you can get them. This version is called the Mecha. So yeah, like I said, I won't be showing the software because I don't know where you get it, and by the sounds of it, it sounds like you get it off some weird generic website anyway, so I don't really trust installing it on the PC. But yeah, it seems like a good controller. I've only used it for a couple of hours. I haven't had any issues with it, obviously, but I would expect not after a couple of hours. The triggers don't feel as good as a Gamesir controller. The sticks are about on par. The D-pad, it kind of depends on what shape D-pad you like. I prefer the Gamesir's one, but some people might like this more sort of dipped down one. I know some people do prefer them. And obviously this is slightly lighter than that, so if you prefer a heavier controller, I'd say go for Gamesir. But yeah, it's I'll get a Mashnike at some point, like I said, and then we'll compare all three. And I'll get an Xbox controller and we'll compare them to an official Xbox controller. But yeah, I will leave a link to the page I picked this up on Amazon, so you can grab one for yourself if you want one, or you can have a look or whatever. But yeah, for now guys, I'm going to leave that video there. Thanks for watching, take care, and I will catch you all in the next video.